I think I always kind of wanted to do this when I was a little kid, and when I first heard my voice on tape, I was hooked.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Ralph Lawler. Welcome to Clippers basketball. Three-pointer by Valentine is good! Bingo! Clippers a chance to take the lead. Manning, slam dunk! Fires again. Bingo! Oh, me, oh, my!
Ralph is as synonymous with the Clippers as any player. In fact, probably more, because of the way he approaches his craft. I mean, he's one of the great play-by-play guys ever. But he's still, when you listen, you can tell he's still such a fan of the NBA and a fan of the Clippers.
Ralph Lawler always was and continues to be a great representative of the game of basketball. Not just the NBA, but the game of basketball, because he has great passion, great knowledge, and love for the game, and obviously communicates that in a very effective manner and has for many, many years.
Well, congratulations, Ralph, on the California Sports Hall of Fame, one of many, many well-deserved accolades. You are truly the heart and soul of Clipper Nation. He is not only the most passionate about the team, but he's the most passionate about the people around him, and not just an extraordinary broadcaster, but an extraordinary human being.
You know, it was about a decade ago when I interviewed for the Clipper job, and they asked me why did I want the job, and I said, well, number one, it was an NBA job, but I said the real gem of it was to be able to work alongside Ralph Lawler and kind of peek into his wisdom after all the years he's been in the NBA. And I've been very fortunate that he's been willing to share that, and really all of his wisdom has rained down on me, and he's been a wonderful asset to my career. And we started out as co-workers, and quite honestly, I feel like we've turned into family. He's one of my favorite people, and I can tell you that any success I might have going forward will be directly attributed to Ralph.
Hey everyone, I'd like to congratulate Ralph. Ralph is the best. Hall of Fame in everything, in every way. When I think of the Clippers, I think when we all think of the Clippers, we think of Ralph Lawler. I think the first jersey in Clipper history that will be retired will be a microphone. It'll be Ralph.
Blocked from behind by Jordan. Unbelievable block. Ahead to Reddick. The lob. The jam!
The thing I'll always remember is Lawler's Law, first to 100 wins, and that he never used headphones. It's amazing to see him be adapting to the new age NBA, but stay old school broadcasting style. I love it.
You have been the face and the voice of the Clippers for so many years and are so loved by all Clipper fans. I just want to say that every time I hear bingo, I think I'm at a church fundraiser.
Crawford for three. Bingo!
Ralph fulfills all the definitions of an expert broadcaster. First of all, he is accurate. Secondly, he's well prepared, he's entertaining, he's interesting, and above all, he is consistent. So for one member to another, Ralph, heartiest congratulations on a great career. God bless, and let it go another 30 at least.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce his friend and former broadcast partner. He's one of the greatest big men the game of basketball has ever known. He's a two-time NCAA champion, a two-time NBA champion, backup drummer for the Grateful Dead, and suddenly, for some odd reason, a big Laker guy. Here he is to throw it down, Bill Walton.
I love Ralph Lawler. He's my best friend. Ralph Lawler made me the man I have become. I first came in contact with Ralph Lawler in 1974. I had just joined the NBA as the #1 draft pick of the Portland Trail Blazers. We were on an exhibition tour. We pulled into Philadelphia. Ralph was then the broadcaster of the Philadelphia 76ers. And at the introductory press conference, which I had in every city, Ralph was the MC. And that day, Ralph emceed a person who could no longer speak at all. Bill Walton, a lifelong stutterer. Bill Walton, who showed up for his first press conference in Philadelphia with Ralph Lawler, and Ralph had to do all the speaking. So it was a very rough beginning to this relationship that has now lasted 42 years. Ralph Lawler has done everything in his life that any broadcaster could ever hope to do. He has broadcast all 4 major sports. He has broadcast at every level. He went to Bradley in Peoria, Illinois. And over the course of my life, I have learned that actually there's a city called Peoria, Illinois. And Ralph was one of those guys who just came through life chasing a dream to be a part of something special. And so when Ralph got his chance every step along the way, including here in the Inland Empire, where he was the broadcaster for the Riverside City College, I'm not even sure of their nickname, if they have a nickname, but Jerry Tarkanian was the coach over there. And so when Ralph was the broadcaster there, he developed a fantastic relationship with this incredible spirit and force of nature, Jerry Tarkanian, right here in the great Inland Empire. And not too long later, after Ralph and I first met in 1974, Ralph's Philadelphia 76ers and I, for the Portland Trail Blazers, we met in the NBA Finals. And Ralph was just convinced that they were going to win. But, like on a lot of different occasions, he was wrong. We had the better team, we had the better players, we had the better coach, we had the better fans. We're from the West Coast, we're from Oregon. But Philadelphia, they had the better broadcaster. They had Ralph Lawler. And it was shortly thereafter that Ralph and I became teammates of sorts, in that he was the broadcaster for the Clippers when I joined the then San Diego Clippers. And Ralph had the misfortune of broadcasting me during the incredibly long period of time, 6 years that I played on the Clippers. And I think I only played about 6 games in those 6 years. And there was many horrendous moments there, very low for me. Couldn't play at all because of the injuries. But Ralph was always the incredible professional. And as we went through our 6 years there and all the ups and downs, and I just could not ever deliver, Ralph was always my best friend. We did a radio show called As I See It, and that's all I did was look at it because I couldn't speak. And Ralph, as the host of the radio show, had to do all the talking. And there was one moment during the incredible glory years of the San Diego Clippers when the games were viewed by friends and family and the people who were managing the arena and cleaning the arena before and after the events, that Ralph, he interviewed my grandmother during halftime. And this was a very special moment. My grandmother was a great fan, and she just loved it, and she just would go to every game and yell and cheer and scream. And so this one game, Ralph had my grandmother on as the halftime guest. And with all the legendary broadcasters that we've been privileged to work with here in California over the course of the years, and Vin Scully just gave the list, and Bob Miller, and all the fantastic speakers and leaders, because the broadcasters are really the most important part of any franchise. Yes, we have all the great athletes here, and the list has been read off, and always wonderful to see Eric Dickerson from the beginning, and Ronnie Lott, and congratulations to everybody and how our lives all come together here in the great state of California. But without the broadcasters, now Jimmy Fox joined in that list, it never works. And so Ralph, he had the incredible misfortune of broadcasting this horrific basketball team. I mean, we could not win a game. We couldn't get more than 10 fans into any of the games, and it was just awful. And so Ralph is interviewing my grandmother this one night, and he's going on, and they're having this grand conversation. And it's a halftime show, so there's got to get to the conclusion so they can get on with the start of the third quarter. And so Ralph says, "Okay, Grandma Hickey, great to have you come to all the games here. Great to cheer for your grandson, little Billy, there with his red hair and his freckles and his big nose and his goofy, nerdy-looking face and his horrendous speech impediment. So tell me, Grandma Hickey, you're 93 years old now. You got any regrets as you move on through life and through the third quarter that's about to start?" And Grandma Hickey, she looked at Ralph because she'd never missed a game. Either she was there in person or she was on the radio listened to Ralph call the games all the time. And so Grandma Hickey, she looked back at Ralph and regrets? Yes, Ralph, I have no regrets. No, she said, Ralph, I have one regret, two regrets actually. Ralph, because, and this was on live radio. She goes, I'm 93 years old, Ralph, and I regret that I've never smoked marijuana and I've never slept with a black man. And Ralph takes a giant deep breath and says, and with that, we'll be right back after these most important messages from our valuable sponsors. Years later, when I could no longer play, and to hear little Jimmy Fox talk about that story, and to know about the relationship that we have with Coach Robinson and Ronnie Lott, and all the fantastic experiences that sports teach us, and these glorious moments that we have in the greatest place on earth, California. Yeah, knocking on the golden door, meet me on the burning shore. I would rather be in jail in California than governor of any other state. And so here it was. I mean, this is the coolest place ever. And right here in Morongo, I mean, are you kidding me? The big mountains on both sides of it, Palm Springs, Inland Empire. This is just the center right here. We got Joe Burton here from Saboba. So just a fantastic night all the way around. But then, there I was. I could no longer play. And I was wandering, lost, aimlessly in the desert, unable to find my way forward. And I staggered and stumbled one day in this fateful encounter, and I ended up in the checkout line of a 7-Eleven in Pacific Beach. And 3 people ahead of me was Ralph Lawler. And he looked at this disheveled mess of a human being, and he said, "What are you doing with the rest of your life?" And I looked at him and I said, "I have no idea. I am old, I am in the way, I am lost, and I have no clue where I'm going or what is going to happen." And so Ralph, the kind of person that he is, the way that Tommy Lasorda is, the way that John Robinson, the way that all the great leaders who have come and built this fantastic state of California, Ralph said, "Young man, come with me." And so Ralph, he gave me my first broadcasting job, and it was absolutely incredible. 13 years with Ralph Lawler. I got fired every year. One year I got fired 4 times in the same year. One year I got fired at halftime. Ralph was always there. Ralph was just this genius. Ralph Lawler is the smartest man I know. Ralph Lawler is the kindest man I know. He's the nicest man I know. He's the best friend that a guy like me could ever hope to have. In 13 years, I'm not sure if the Clippers won in double figures in games in the cumulative time we were together. No one in the history of basketball has seen more bad basketball. Yet Ralph, every single day, this guy is the model. He is the epitome. He is the personification of excellence. Excellence as a professional. Excellent as a dad. Excellent as a husband. His wife Jo is here. Excellent as a human being. Excellent as a representative of what it means to be a member of the California Sports Hall of Fame. I spent 13 years with Ralph. It seemed like 30 to him. But it was one of those deals for me that it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because Ralph Lawler, he always made it fun. I couldn't wait to get to work every single day. Not because of the basketball. The basketball was awful. I mean, are you kidding? In those years, the checks bounced higher than the balls did. But here was Ralph who came with so much enthusiasm, who came with so much passion, who came with so much information all the time. And he's screaming about bingo, and he's screaming about fasten your seatbelts, and he's screaming about Lawler's Law, and I'm looking at him, and I'm doing the same thing. I said, this is fantastic. Are you kidding me? This is the coolest thing in the world. In my 26 years now as a broadcaster, I've never had more fun than the 13 years I had the privilege and the honor and the distinction and good fortune of working with my best friend, Ralph Lawler. Ralph Lawler, broadcasting with Ralph Lawler is like playing basketball with Larry Bird. Broadcasting with Ralph Lawler is like playing music with Jerry Garcia. Broadcasting with Ralph Lawler is like writing poetry and discussing English literature with Bob Dylan. Ralph Lawler is truly what it means to be a Hall of Famer. He is my best friend. I'm the luckiest guy in the world who have ever met him, and I am just so glad that when I was down and I was on the bottom and I had nothing, that there was someone like Ralph Lawler in my life who reached down and out and put that hand out and said, come on, young man, you're coming with me. And here I am tonight at Morongo with the June 26th, 2016 California Sports Hall of Fame, deservingly honoring Ralph Lawler. Long overdue. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you for my life. Thank you for your spirit. Thank you for your family. Thank you for everything that we have, dream, hope, and believe in the world. Ralph Lawler.
Never could get the microphone back from that guy. Thank you very much. Never one to overstate anything, that Bill. He's really something. We were upstairs at the reception, and Bill said, Ralph, I want you to speak for an hour. And I said, I'll tell you what, just between us, we'll speak for an hour. I think I have about 2 minutes left, I think. But what a treat it is to have him here. These 13 years that he referred to, we worked together. The most fun I ever had on the air in my entire life. I learned a lot about basketball, a lot about life, and a lot about broadcasting from this guy who started off as a neophyte broadcaster, but he allowed me to have fun on the air. It wasn't like life and death. We were like, we were the comic section of the newspaper. We were the part where you go and just have fun. And the great thing about that is it gives the audience a chance to get to know you, to relate to you, and love you. And that's why we all love Bill Walton. There's no question about it. I think the only thing that Roger missed about Bill in describing him is he's also an author. His book, Bill Walton, Back from the Dead, is a bestseller right now. It's an autobiography. It's a magnificent read. I've talked to some of you who've read it, some of you who are going to go out and get it. It's inspiring. It's fascinating. It's really worth reading. So that's Bill Walton, Back from the Dead. Talking about friendship, he said I was there at his low level. 9 years ago, I had prostate cancer, which is kind of a scary prospect to deal with. And we had the cancer and the prostate removed, and I went home, and you don't feel great when you go through that kind of stuff. But the first people at my bedside were Bill and Lori Walton. Not once, but in the first week I'm home and convalescing, they come back again, bringing gifts, taking us out to have dinner when I was able to do that. And they were number one, and you'll always be number one, both you guys. So thank you very much. Great to see Bob Miller here. I hadn't seen Bob since He had his little incident during the season last year, looking great, looking healthy, and I'm so glad to see Bob. And going through the whole list of past honorees here, it just knocks me out that I'm here. I'm not nearly as prepared as Jim Fox was for this presentation and what I wanted to say, because I kept thinking they're going to say, no, Ralph, we were just kidding. You're not really going to get with all these guys, because this is just a great group. And Christian Okoye, I just don't know how to tell you what a great thing you have done here. I came to California in 1961 as a young guy, fresh out of college, worked here in the Inland Empire in Riverside for the entire 1960s and loved it, and kind of cut my teeth on broadcasting and on learning how to do play-by-play of football, baseball, basketball, anything that moved or sweat. We'd go out and we'd broadcast it, and it was a great experience. But in 1961, nobody could have dreamed of a California Sports Hall of Fame. But all these years later, the Lakers come, the Dodgers come, you got 2 hockey teams, you got 2 baseball teams, 2 basketball teams, great college programs, you got soccer teams. It is just an amazing city, and this is just here in Southern California. This diverse state, from the northernmost to the southernmost part, it is so diverse, with every single sport imaginable being played, but there was no way to recognize the scope and the breadth of sports in our society in this state until a decade ago. Christian thought, hey, we need to have a California Sports Hall of Fame. They inducted 19 that first year. You saw many of them listed here at the outset of the program tonight. And each year, another 5, 6, 10 of us are lucky enough to join this elite group. And I think a decade from now, 2 decades from now, this will become one of the preeminent halls of fame in the entire country. It is absolutely remarkable, because California is like a pretty good-sized nation. So congratulations, Christian, and it's about time that you become inducted as well. I just want to talk about table 6 over here, where my lovely wife Jo is. I could not be here today without her support. In the mid-'80s, when the basketball team moved from San Diego to L.A., I was dragging my feet, dragged it for a full year. Thought, I don't want to move from San Diego. This is great. Our family was all there, and she kept, go. It's your dream. Follow it. Go. So without her, I'd be selling real estate somewhere in a housing tract in San Diego right now, I suppose. But because of her, I'm able to have a wonderful, rewarding career. Those 13 years with Bill, things have changed a bit. The checks don't bounce anymore. The ball still goes high. But my life changed, was it 2 years ago now, when Steve Ballmer bought the ball club, and Gillian Zucker took over our business operation as the president of the business operations. And Gillian is here with Lance today. Thank you very much for making the trek out. It's a whole new deal being a Los Angeles Clipper now. I can proudly wear the good-looking new Clipper logo around town right now without any sense of shame or saying, how can you work for that guy? It is great working for this group of people, really. Seth Burton and his wife Renee are here. Others from the Clipper front office and from Fox Sports are here as well. Sarah Takata, appreciate that. I heard from Nick Davis at Prime Ticket here tonight, wishing us the best. It is great. Frank Farino and his wife Sylvia, longtime friends. One of my oldest friends, you can tell by taking one look at him. My son Ralph and his bride Christy are here. It is just a great night, and I am thrilled, and I think my 2 minutes are up. But thank you very, very much.